As a loyal knight, he devoted his life to the welfare of the king and the castle. However, there are truly people who are greedy for power, secretly committing acts of betrayal to seize the king's throne. It all begins when the ruler of Hortensia confronting a furious knight. Without warning, the knight transforms into a wolf and slays the king on the spot. At the same time, the forces of Camellia launch an assault against Hortensia's knights, igniting chaos throughout the kingdom. As the conflict spreads, the wolf continues battling another knight amid the outbreak of war. Soon after, a Templar of Hortensia named Fernando appears on the scene. Confused by the sudden clash between what were once allied nations, he is forced into combat when Camellia's knights attack him, leaving him no choice but to fight back and defeat them. In the midst of this, a magical cat named Q shows up and warns him that someone's life is in danger, prompting them to head toward the location immediately. Elsewhere, a knight named Maurice is equally puzzled by Camellia's actions. Another knight, Adele, speculates that the negotiations with Duke Lugus may have failed. Just then, Fernando and Q arrive to report that the king and his children are in grave danger. Before they can act, however, a Cerberus-class creature is summoned, accompanied by numerous demons and monsters that suddenly emerge. With no time to waste, they divide their efforts to assist those in need. Fernando makes his way to the king's location and discovers widespread destruction, with many wounded, including the king himself. As he lies dying, one of the knights urges Fernando to rescue Princess Marie and escape. But as they attempt to flee with her, Maurice is struck in the eye by the wolf. When the monster moves to kill the princess, Fernando intervenes just in time, blocking the attack. He is bitten in the process, yet driven by rage, he charges forward to bring down the beast. In the next scene, a boy looks out the window and sees someone approaching his house. We are introduced to the boy named Alfred. He goes downstairs with Nonoria, the house servant, to greet his father, but they are surprised to find that it is actually Maurice. It is then revealed that Maurice is Alfred's uncle, and he tells him that his father could not come because he has died. He hands Alfred his father's sword. Alfred begins to cry uncontrollably after learning that he will never speak to his father again. After that, it is explained that the two principalities, Olivier and Camellia, were responsible for protecting the kingdom of Hortensia until the day Duke Lugus of Camellia decided to turn against them. After the battle, the king died and Princess Marie completely disappeared. Because of this, the younger sister, Charlotte, had to take the throne. Several days later, Maurice tells Alfred that he saw everything when he entered the throne room, and it was very disturbing. There was a werewolf, just like in the legends, killing the king. He adds that Alfred's father was very brave, because until the very last moment, he did not step back in front of the monster and fought until the end to defend the king and the princess. Alfred says that now that his father has died, he will be the one to lead the domain of Albert, since his father had trained him from a young age to become a good knight. He then asks Maurice for help so he can train and protect his lands. Maurice accepts and says that he will leave the royal knights to settle in Albert, as serving his nephew does not sound bad at all. Alfred is happy to hear these words, and suddenly Noria arrives to inform him that someone has left. She enters the room and mentions that Marius was injured, and after recovering, he decided to leave. Maurice thinks that the boy will be fine anyway. In the next scene, Q begs Marius to return to the domain, but he does not seem to care and continues on his path. On the other hand, Alfred begins searching for the boy, since after the battle he had lost his family. Alfred knows where he might be, so he heads to a hill where he finds him. Alfred tells him that he knows he lost his family, and he points out that the grave in front of him belongs to his mother and sister, and that his father will also be buried after the war. Because of this, he deeply understands the pain he is feeling at that moment. As his final words, Alfred tells him that his father always tried to protect all the people of Hortensia. These words make Marius cry, as he never thought everything would end this way. Alfred gives him words of encouragement and tells him that he has been very strong, then asks what he wants to do with his life. The boy takes Alfred's sword and says that from now on he will become stronger to protect his people. After 4 years, the group from the domain led by Alfred moves through the forest as a small group from Camellia is heading toward them. At that moment, Marius is beside Alfred, having become his right-hand man, and he says that he will apply everything Maurice taught him. However, Maurice reminds them that even though they are strong, they must be careful, because this is their first battle. Soon, they arrive at a field where they witness a massacre, as it seems that all the fallen knights were the main force of the battle. The knights of Camellia immediately begin attacking them, and Alfred splits up to help several survivors. However, more soldiers from Camellia arrive to fight him. He quickly defeats several of them, while Marius is pushed against a wall by one of the enemies. Alfred reacts quickly and defeats the opponent he was fighting, then helps his friend. Soon after, they notice that their allies were retreating, but they are both killed by the commander of the Camellian troops named Roy. Alfred confronts him and says that it is not fair to kill them like that, since they did not even want to fight. Roy coldly replies that this is war, and anything is allowed. After Roy says something hurtful, Marius rushes to fight him, but Roy knocks him down. Alfred also charges at him, and Roy says that he is just a novice with no combat experience. He even mocks him, saying that if his father were still alive, he would be ashamed of him. At that moment, Alfred is at the edge of a cliff, and just as Roy is about to strike him, Marius manages to stop the attack. However, both of them fall to the ground, and when Roy points his weapon at them, a knife suddenly hits his bow. It is revealed that Maurice has arrived to help them, so Roy chooses to make a strategic retreat. After several hours, Alfred is seen at his family's grave, remembering everything his father taught him. Now that his father is gone, he knows he must protect Albert and all the people in the domain. At that moment, Marius arrives and tells him that many have returned to Albert safely. Alfred tells him that he must become much stronger if he wants to protect his loved ones and the people. In the end, Marius also says that as his squire and right hand, he must become strong as well. At that moment, Honoria and Maurice arrive to accompany them. In the next scene, we see a memory of Maurice after the war, where he is talking with the princess, who is being hidden by him. He tells her that she must cut her hair and change her identity so that no one can recognize her. As Maurice leaves the room, he knows that the girl has been having a very hard time after seeing her father die in front of her. Back in the present, it is explained that a place called Magonia exists, filled with a huge amount of magical power. There are even creatures from stories and floating islands in that place, but for some strange reason, they began attacking villages and cities across the kingdom of Hortensia. We then see Maurice and Alfred defeating several goblins while patrolling the area. Maurice asks Alfred if he has seen Marius, and Alfred replies that Marius is training to become stronger. At the same time, we see Marius carrying some things alongside Nonoria. Both of them then head to a grave to leave flowers. Nonoria says that every time she goes out to do an errand, she passes by Alfred's family grave and offers a prayer. It is then revealed that after her family died, Fernando hired her as a servant, but they treated her so well that she came to see them as family. She also mentions Alfred's younger sister, as they were friends, but the girl was a bit sick. However, that illness was not what ended her life, because one day the carriage she was riding in fell off a cliff. Back in the present, Nonoria tells Marius that because of this, she will always give Alfred the best treatment. After arriving at one of the villages in Magonia, some children welcome them and start talking about one of the local legends. Apparently, there is a cave with a spring that is guarded by a monster. One of the children says that the monster can take any form, even that of a giant wolf. This makes Marius remember how the wolf killed the king. At that moment, it is revealed that Marius is actually Princess Marie, as Maurice had brought her to Alfred's house under a different identity. This is why Marius has had a feminine appearance all this time, and no one except Maurice knows her secret. For now, she will continue to be called Marius until her secret is revealed. After that, the children say that the monster is just a legend. At that moment, Maurice and Alfred arrive, and Marius scolds him for tricking her, since he said that the task he gave to Nonoria was only to carry his things. On the other hand, the boys continue talking about the monster, and Marius becomes very worried about it. After some time while drinking tea, Alfred thinks that he should go investigate the cave, since after the incident with Lugus, many monsters that were only legends have started appearing in the kingdom. After a while, the three of them head toward the cave, and Marius is completely nervous. She even bumps into Alfred, and he notices that she is very, very nervous. Marius simply tells him that she is afraid of wolves. In the end, she says that she heard from her father that he was killed by a werewolf, so she asks him if he hates them. Just as Alfred is about to answer, Maurice tells them to stop wasting time, and keeps walking since the cave is right in front of them. In a parallel scene, a woman arrives with Nonoria and tells her that one of the boys who spoke with Alfred has disappeared. The girl present had mentioned that the boy wanted to go to the cave to prove that the monsters from the legend were real. This makes Nonoria panic, and after packing her things, she rushes out at full speed. Meanwhile, Alfred and the others are fighting several monsters inside the cave. After defeating many of them, Alfred thinks that they should return home. On the other hand, Nonoria arrives at the place and realizes that she has gotten lost in the labyrinth. She sees some skeletons and starts to panic. Then they hear someone crying, and it turns out to be the boy who went in alone. The boy is relieved and, while crying, says that he thought he would die in that place. However, Nonoria tells him that they are also lost and will have to find a way to get out. At that moment, some goblins appear and start chasing them. The girl manages to hide and throws meat to distract them, but when they try to run, she trips and gets surrounded by many of the monsters. Just as they are about to be killed, Alfred appears and defeats them. With tears in her eyes, Nonoria hugs Alfred and tells him that she never lost faith in him. Alfred explains that one of the ties had fallen and Marius found it, so he knew they were nearby. The girl thanks them again, but they are interrupted when they see a blue light glowing inside the cave. After heading toward that place, Alfred thinks that the area must be the spring of the Cave of Trump. At that moment, Marius arrives and sees that behind Alfred, a gigantic wolf has appeared. She is left in complete shock as she begins to remember everything it did and how it killed her loved ones. Filled with anger, Alfred realizes that this monster is the one that killed his father, but Maurice tells him that it is only a copy. Meanwhile, Marius is so scared that she falls into the water of the spring. At that moment, she begins to remember how Maurice saved her after she saw her father being killed, as well as Alfred's father. It was then that Maurice told her that the monster comes from an old legend of Magonia. At that moment, they had arrived with another man who was helping them escape. He warned them to be careful with the king's father, since ever since that man arrived, the king had changed a lot. So he believed that the man might be evil. He then told Maurice and the girl to stay behind and protect her brother and the new king of Hortensia. After several days, it was the moment when Maurice decided to take the girl to deliver bad news to Alfred. Back in the present, we see that the girl was unconscious, but she wakes up at that moment. The others tell her that the wolf was only a minor boss of the cave. Nonoria explains that she had read in a book that the monster in that cave takes the form of what people hate the most. That is why the monster took the form of the wolf, since Alfred hates it deeply and wants to avenge his father, and also because the girl has trauma related to that creature. After some time, they return to Magonia, and the boy they rescued is very happy to be back with his family. Alfred tells Nonoria that she should not have gone there because he does not want to lose her like he lost his father. He adds that she and Q are family to him. This makes the girl emotional, and she begins to cry while hugging him. On the other hand, Marius remembers that she must keep her false identity at all costs. In the next scene, several knights stop a man named the Floud. They say that he is a bounty hunter who has been accused of stealing and other crimes. The Floud says that this is completely false, then creates a distraction and hides in a tree. He is also surprised when he sees that there is a reward of 5 gold coins for him. Meanwhile, it is explained that after the coronation by the Pope, a man named Alexei came to power, and the Church of Hortensia has taken control of the land. Back with Alfred, they arrive at the capital. It is mentioned that at first, Marius did not want them to go, since Alfred and Maurice received a letter from the captain of the ecclesiastical order asking them to come. However, Alfred said that nothing would happen, since before becoming the leader of the domain, he was a royal knight. Back in the present, they arrive in a room where a man named George appears. Maurice directly asks him what he wants from them. The man explains that about 2 years ago, a very strange plague appeared. For some reason, the disease made people's skin turn very hard, like stone statues, so they had to quarantine the infected. Now the village where this happened is almost deserted, so he wants them to investigate the village of Patali unofficially. He also adds that there have been some cases where monsters look very similar to humans, and the few confirmed sightings appear to be like the undead. This leaves Alfred deep in thought, and he asks why George does not send his own men. Maurice notices that the man does not want to answer, so he says that they will take care of it. After a few hours, the group sets out toward the place, and Marius begins explaining what happened in the village of Patal. It was said to be only a myth, since many years ago they had heard that a witch placed a curse on the village because she wanted everyone to leave, and she threatened to turn the entire kingdom into stone. Marius adds that the church had promised to protect the kingdom, but in the end, they only built some walls around the village, so it was not much help, and to this day they are still searching for the witch. This makes Alfred calm her down and tell her that she should not speak badly about the church, or she could be arrested. After walking for a while, they arrive at the village. Marius is carrying some flowers that Nonoria gave her, since she told her that if she recites certain words, it might allow the souls of the dead to rest and eliminate them. However, when they enter the place, they are surprised to find a man fighting against several undead. At that moment, Marius recites some words while holding the flower in her hands, which causes the undead to move toward her. But Alfred, with several quick moves, manages to defeat all the zombies. They then realize that the man in the village is the Floud. He tells them that he does not know what happened, and since he arrived, all the undead started attacking. Marius accidentally says that she came on behalf of the Orthodox Church. This angers him, and he rushes to attack her, but Maurice quickly blocks the attack and tells him that he will not allow him to harm anyone. The Floud does not understand why they came to deal with the undead, and asks Marius what kind of flower she is holding. Marius explains that it is a requi flower, which allows her to expel the souls of the undead after reciting a spell. However, the man tells them to leave the place and starts walking away. The group decides to investigate further and concludes that they should visit the village church, since they suspect that the Floud is there because he may have lived there years ago. When they arrive at the church, they realize they were right, as the Floud is standing in front of a grave. They begin to talk, and the Floud seems confused about everything that happened in the village, since there are no signs of bodies being buried despite the presence of graves. At that moment, Maurice asks him if he recognized any faces among the undead, and after hearing a positive answer, he explains that for the past 4 years, monsters have been appearing through summons. In other words, those undead are not the villagers who once lived in Patel. This shocks the Floud, so he asks them to enter the church to investigate what really happened. Inside, they find the diary of the former priest. The Floud becomes desperate to read what was written. It says that everything began on September 20, when the Pope visited them and told them that they could not leave the village. He also said that only people with strong faith would be saved. Over several weeks, people began to die one by one, until only the last group remained, just like the others. At that moment, the Floud begins to cry. It is then revealed that the priest was the boy's father. However, the Floud hates his father, and that is why he ended up leaving the village. He explains that when he was a child, he admired his father, but after his mother died, his father wanted him to become a priest, and because he refused, they had a family conflict. That was when he decided to abandon everything. As time passed, the boy became filled with regret and wondered why he had done all of that. The group is suddenly interrupted when a group of ecclesiastical knights arrives at the place. They believe that they came to cast the curse that awakened the dead. This makes the Floud very angry, but the knights do not seem to care. They say that all the villagers were sacrificed for the good of the rest of the kingdom. One of the ecclesiastical knights is about to attack the Floud, but Alfred quickly blocks the strike. The knight becomes angry and tells him that he could get into trouble for challenging him, especially as just a royal knight. Everyone is interrupted when a gigantic zombie appears and attacks them immediately. Marius says that she needs to use several of those requin flowers to cast a spell that can defeat it. However, while fighting the monster, the Floud tells her that those flowers are similar to the requin ones, but they are not the same. He tells her that she can take the flower from his mother's grave, since that one is a real requin flower. Marius quickly begins casting the spell with the flower and weakens the monster completely. This gives the others time, and after striking it several times, they manage to defeat it. After a few hours, they make several graves in honor of the fallen villagers. The Floud says goodbye to the village, as he is the last survivor of Patel. On the other hand, Alfred and the group discuss that perhaps George sent the knights to eliminate them, since they knew Alfred was a royal knight. They also think that George may have leaked information because otherwise there would be no way for them to know. At that moment, the Floud arrives, and the group invites him to become a knight, since he only needs a recommendation from someone important, like Alfred. Alfred tells him that as the leader of the Albert domain, he can recommend him, because he sees great potential in him. After thinking for a few seconds, the Floud accepts and agrees to help Alfred. In a parallel scene, there is a meeting between the royal knights and members of the Orthodox Church. They inform the king that there have been some conflicts at the border, so he gives the church authority to handle the situation. A church soldier named Didier says that if that is the case, they will send several knights. Back with Alfred, the group talks about whether George was really the one who leaked the information. After a short discussion, they continue their journey toward the royal capital. Later, it is explained that the duchies of Camellia and Dury have formed an alliance to try to overthrow Hortensia. making them the greatest threats to the Hortensia Empire. Back with Alfred, while they are talking, the Floud suddenly says that there is something ahead. They soon find several merchants who have been attacked, with their cargo still left behind. Alfred thinks that it must have been the work of monsters. When they approach one of the carriages, they find two twins inside, and Alfred says that they must be from the Duray Empire, so he plans to take them to the next village. However, Maurice has a bad feeling when he notices that one of the men is injured. After a long while, they arrive at the town of Barilla and realize that it is completely abandoned. They think this is because there are not many visitors due to the large number of monsters that have appeared. At that moment, the Floud notices a village girl and starts acting like a flirt to get information about the mayor. However, Alfred, annoyed by this, pushes him aside and asks the girl where the man is. She replies that after taking food and taxes from the people, he abandoned the town and went to the capital. It is then revealed that they took over the former mayor's mansion to build a church. Marius thinks it is a waste of time, but Maurice believes that people need faith and hope. After some time, the group arrives at an inn, and as night falls, they spend time doing several activities. For some reason, the twins become very attached to Alfred. He explains to Marius that it is because he used to take care of his younger sister when she was a child, which is why they feel close to him. The next day, after several hours traveling by carriage, they finally arrive at the royal capital. They are welcomed by the commander of Squad 4, known as Bertrand. Alfred shows him the twins and says that since they are from Duray, it could be a problem, as the kingdom of Hortensia and that duchy are in conflict. He asks Bertrand to take the children to the orphanage, while he and Maurice go speak with George to give their report. However, while Bertrand and the others are heading to the orphanage, the twins manage to escape. Meanwhile, Alfred meets with George. After explaining everything that happened, George swears that he did not send anyone to attack them. He explains that the Church of Hortensia is not a single unified organization, and since they went to the church and were attacked, it suggests that someone within it may be hiding something and does not want them to find out. At that moment, they hear an explosion, and a knight arrives to inform them that monsters are attacking the cathedral, and there appears to be more than one. In a parallel scene, Lugus talks with Roy and mentions that he has sent several people as spies to the capital. However, their identities are not revealed at that moment, though he believes things will become interesting. In the next scene, many specters surround the church. At that moment, several church knights are killed by the twins themselves, revealing that the children were actually sent by Lugus. They also say that they have come to take him and obtain the relic, although it is not revealed at that moment, leaving the man in shock. Soon after, Alfred's group arrives outside the church and manages to defeat several specter demons, but since they keep appearing, Bertrand launches a powerful attack that eliminates all of them at once, allowing them to enter and rescue the Pope. They enter just as the twins are about to attack Alexei. The children explain that Lugus sent them, and Alfred feels completely powerless after realizing that they killed several knights. The twins immediately launch an attack against the group, but Alexei uses divine magic and neutralizes their dark magic. At the same time, others arrive to capture the twins. Just when it seems like it is over for them, a giant dragon suddenly bursts into the church. Everyone is shocked, realizing that the most powerful monster from the legends of Magonia is now there. The twins think it has been sent as reinforcement to help them escape. Suddenly, Didier arrives to protect the Pope, and with several strikes from his axe, he deals massive damage to the dragon. Everyone is amazed by his great power and skill. Didier believes that even though it is a legendary creature, it still has a physical body that can be destroyed. As the monster appears weakened by Didier's strength, the twins take the chance to escape and climb onto the dragon. They say goodbye, telling everyone that they will meet again very soon. Alfred looks into the dragon's eyes and notices something strange, thinking that it might be someone he knows, possibly the one who killed his father. After that, they confirm that Alexei is safe, and Didier apologizes for not killing the dragon, as he did not expect it to escape like that. They also inform the Pope that King Charlotte is safe, meaning they have successfully completed their mission to protect both the Pope and the King. At that moment, a memory is revealed of when George told Alfred and Maurice an important detail. He had mentioned that someone within the church has been tracking all his movements and might also be trying to involve the ecclesiastical order. He adds that if there are two people capable of doing this, they would be Alexei or Didier. In the next scene, the twins arrive at the castle of Camellia, and the dragon transforms into a beautiful girl named Theresia. The twins thank her for saving them and apologize for not completing the mission. However, after confirming that the Pope does have the relic they have been searching for, Theresia says that they must report everything to Lugus as soon as possible, since it will help them create a very effective war strategy. Next, a memory from 6 years earlier in Camellia is revealed, when they were being attacked by the Duchy of de Rey. As they were being surrounded, reinforcements arrived in time, led by Fernando and a man named Leon. It is then explained that Leon was the one who died while defending the king of Hortensia. On the other hand, Adelheged was his adopted daughter and the heir to the domain of Olivier. However, due to the interventions of Alexei, he influenced the king and had her stripped of her domain title. Back in the present, Didier talks with Alexei about what happened with the dragon. Alexei says that since a war is approaching, they must prepare again with the domain of Olivier. The next day, Alfred's group arrives at the domain of Olivier. Q is amazed to see so much food, and Marius explains that the land is known for being connected to the sea. Maryse reminds the group that they came on a mission from George, and it is revealed that he had explained there are two major factions within the Orthodox Church. One follows the traditional laws of the Church of Hortensia, while the other is an extremist faction like Didier, who do not hesitate to punish the people under the excuse of strengthening the kingdom. It is also revealed that Alexei now holds part of the kingdom's control. Due to his influence over the king, he has promoted Didier, and it is likely that the knights who attacked them in the church were acting under Didier's orders. Back in the present, Maurice says that since Olivier is a powerful domain, it is possible that they also want to bring it to their side. When Alfred mentions how strong and beautiful Adelheged is, the Floud starts acting like a flirt, as he tends to do whenever he sees or hears about a beautiful woman. After a while, they meet Adelheged, and Alfred is happy to see her since it has been a long time. However, they are interrupted when the Floud introduces himself and immediately tries to flirt with her. Because he becomes too intense, Maurice quickly calms him down. Soon after, Adelheged accepts George's request for help, but tells the group that they must wait a bit longer for her full confirmation. She explains that recently they have been dealing with spies, and because security has been tightened, she cannot fully trust anyone yet. Later, the group leaves, except for Alfred. Marius becomes jealous when Alfred stays behind to talk with Adelheged, but Maurice explains that it is because both of them lost their parents during Lugus's attack. Alfred says that Leon was a great leader, and Adelheged responds that she always wanted to surpass her father. Since she was young, they trained together, and she never gave up even when she lost. All of this became her motivation to protect the domain of Olivier in the present. In a parallel scene, we see that the ecclesiastical knights have taken a woman in front of the Floud, along with other girls and women. The Floud becomes nervous, but Maurice says that it might be a witch house as an excuse, since in reality they want to lure Adelheged. The girl arrives at the place, and Didier appears, making it clear that he knows she is looking for Princess Marie to form a rebellion. Because of this, he plans to accuse her with false charges in order to capture her. At that moment, the knights try to take away the women they consider witches, but the Floud refuses to allow it, as he will not let anyone harm any lady. As Alfred is about to draw his sword, Didier tells him that doing so would put his domain in serious trouble. Because of this, Adelheged has no choice but to surrender in exchange for her people not being harmed. However, suddenly, Camellia launches an attack on the domain of Olivier, making it clear that everything was planned. At that moment, Adelheged asks Didier to arrest her after she defends the domain, and he agrees, even offering to lend her the ecclesiastical knights. Didier then wonders what Lugus's reason is for attacking the domain of Olivier. The battle begins, and a massacre unfolds. It is mentioned that the chameleon fighting style is to apply constant pressure, so they assume that their leader must be at the front lines. This turns out to be true, as Roy appears and tries to shoot her with an arrow. He comments that it is ironic that they are now enemies, even though they were once fellow Templars. At that moment, a memory is shown of when the king and Leon were killed. It seems that Adelheged and Roy argued back then over the betrayal of her father and the king, and she tried to attack him, but Roy refused to kill her at that time. Back in the present, Adelheged says that the time has come to avenge her father, as she is searching for Lugus. Roy tells her that if she wants to kill Lugus, then she will have to kill him first, and they begin fighting immediately. She tells Roy that he looks like a loyal dog to Lugus, willing to do anything he asks. Suddenly, Alfred and Marius arrive to help her. Adelheid says that she will handle everything, but Alfred tells her that if she falls in battle, it will be the end of Olivier, so she finally accepts their help. Unexpectedly, Traitors appears from the sky and orders an immediate retreat. Even Roy withdraws at once. She tells him that if he had continued pressing the attack, they could have taken Olivier, but Roy says that he stopped in order to protect her. At this point, it is unclear whether he is truly as bad as he seems. After some time, the ecclesiastical knights ask Adelheid to come with them, as promised. Just as they are about to take her away, Alfred remembers Roy's words about retreating to protect her. He tells them that since she is such a good leader of Olivier, they need to consider what will happen when the domain is attacked again without her, as many knights are loyal to her and will not have the same motivation without their commander. Didier thinks about it for a moment and admits that Alfred has a point. He then says that he will temporarily release her, but she will remain under suspicion of treason against the kingdom. After saying this, they leave and set her free. The group is relieved and feels that they have gained a little more time. After a few hours, Marius looks for Alfred and hides when she sees him alone with Adelheid. At that moment, the girl thanks Alfred for everything and tells him that if he ever needs help, he can count on the domain of Olivier. Alfred replies that he does not understand who the real enemy is, because on one hand they fight against Camellia, but on the other hand the Orthodox Church kidnaps innocent people and tries to accuse them of treason. Because of this, he says that every time he takes up his sword, he does not know who he should fight. In the next scene, Traitors and Roy are seen talking about Adelheid. It is revealed that Traitors has an ability that allows her to see premonitions and fragments of the future. That was the reason she ordered the attack on Olivier, to demonstrate its potential. Traitors believes that Lugus did this to protect Adelheid, but Roy says that the girl actually hates the Pope, so Lugus did all of this to keep the kingdom divided, and in the end, it worked in their favor. Back in the present, Traitors is not sure if that was truly his reason or if he really wanted to protect her, since neither of them knows the truth. On the other hand, Roy tells her that he greatly admires Lugus because he has always shown the will to defend his people. In another scene, Marius narrates that long ago there was a legend about a princess who was helped and arrived on an island where there was a giant stone. The stone came to life and helped the princess recover the kingdom from which she had been exiled. Back in the present, Marius becomes annoyed when she sees that the Floud is not paying attention to her because he is bathing in the sea. The Floud tells her that she should undress and bathe as well, but because she does not want her secret to be discovered, she refuses. At that moment, Maurice arrives and tells them that they came to the island to investigate something, since apparently there is a girl pretending to be Princess Marie, and the people have been idolizing her. Soon after, a crowd gathers and welcomes the fake Marie. She appears cheerful and thanks everyone for coming to see her. Meanwhile, Marius talks with Maurice and tells him that she can no longer bear to keep her identity as the real Princess Marie a secret. Maurice tells her that it is a decision she must make on her own, since he knows that Adelheid and others are still searching for her. After the fake Marie speaks for a while, Alfred becomes surprised and starts to think that she might actually be the real princess, since he did not expect her to act the way she is acting. At that moment, a giant robot controlled by two people appears. Many believe that she is the princess from the legend, but Alfred's group does not believe it at all, since they know it is completely false. Marius can no longer hold back, and in anger says that she will put an end to this farce as soon as possible. In a parallel scene, the fake Marie is seen talking with several men about her performance. They tell her that they want to destroy the Orthodox Church, but the girl, not knowing what to do, thinks that they only want to be free, which the men take as a decision to attack the church. In another scene, the twins also arrive on the island where Alfred's group is located. The twins say that if the giant and the princess are real, they will take them with them, but if they are fake, they will kill both of them right away. Back with Alfred's group, they arrive where the supposed princess is, and Marius, very angry, tells her to stop pretending. The girl apologizes for pretending to be the princess and says that her real name is actually the same, since she is truly named Mari. She took advantage of that name to pretend to be Princess Mariel, because even though the princess's real name is Mariel, everyone knows her as Mariel. Alfred asks Maria why she pretended to be the princess, and she answers that it all started as a game. She explains that they were childhood friends, and when the kingdom began to fall into chaos, she started pretending to be the real princess. Everywhere they went, her friend treated her like one, and this began to attract people's attention. At the same time, the people needed hope, since the church was suffocating them with taxes and other burdens. The group is moved when they see that Mari regrets her decision. Marius tells her that she should reveal her true identity, or it could cause problems, although they know it is complicated because it might create chaos. At that moment, Mary's friend arrives and thinks that Alfred's group is trying to kidnap her. Marius takes Mary to another place while Alfred stays behind to deal with the situation. He tells the boy that he does not want to fight and that he should understand the pain his friend is going through by pretending to be someone she is not. Meanwhile, the two girls reach a safe place, and Marius tells Mary that she does not understand how a friend like him cannot see her pain. She also says that it is not right for him to treat her as if she were truly the princess. Mari replies that she has her reasons. She explains that she became an orphan at a young age and was always a crybaby, and her friend always tried to comfort her. On the other side, Alfred and the others advise the boy to stop playing the roles of knight and princess, because it is not good for the girl's mental health. However, he responds that since there are volunteers in the island's army, she must be their hope, as many people have been oppressed by the Orthodox Church. At the same time, the girls continue talking, and after a long conversation, Mari says that she and her friend will tell the truth to everyone. Just then, Alfred's group arrives, and they say that they will reveal everything. After some time, the two of them confess to all the people on the island that they are not the princess nor the giant from the legend. This leaves everyone confused and clearly angry. Marius feels bad when she sees how badly the people treat Mary and her friend after they told the truth. Suddenly, the giant appears beside them and begins to move on its own with dark magic. It is then revealed that the twins are responsible for attacking them using the robot. At that moment, the twins summon several portals from which demons emerge. These demons begin attacking the people, and Alfred's group immediately starts fighting and defeating them. Meanwhile, the robot attacks Mari again, but her friend manages to block the strike. He tells her that he will always protect her, and those words inspire the rest of the people on the island. Soon after, Alfred's group arrives to help them. They manage to defeat the giant, but just as it is about to fall on Marius, a stone giant suddenly appears and protects her. This causes the twins' mission to fail, and they retreat from the island. The next day, Mary and her friend thank everyone for everything they did, as it seems that everyone on the island remained safe. Her friend also tells them that the people of the island have forgiven them and decided to start over, while the community will now work together to protect the island from the church. Alfred's group says they are happy to hear that and adds that they will speak well of them in their report to George, hoping to return one day and see them again. After saying goodbye, Alfred becomes thoughtful about what happened the previous day, since it seemed very strange that a stone figure shaped like a human was able to save Marius before the giant robot fell on her. Finally, Mari speaks to the real princess without realizing it and asks that if she ever meets her, she should tell her that she can count on her for anything she needs. Even though she pretended to be the princess, she is willing to help the real one in any way. Marius accepts her request, and both of them feel very happy about it. After a long time, Alfred's group is seen at what appears to be a small merchant's fair. However, Nonoria is worried because they have collected very few herbs, and the person in charge explains that the village of Kokan has been having serious problems as there is a shortage of medicinal herbs, and many people have left the place. Alfred, wanting to help, says that he will cover all the costs, since this situation also affects the people of Albert and those who rely on the herbs. The people are glad to see that Fernando's son is just as kind and generous as his father. On the other hand, the Floud feels that something strange is happening in that village. After a few hours, Nonoria is very worried because there are very few medicinal herbs left. At that moment, Alfred arrives and Marius comments that it is very strange that the village has become mostly deserted. The group decides that they will go and visit the place. Nonoria asks to go with them, but Alfred refuses because it could be dangerous for her. After a few hours, the group continues their journey until they finally arrive near the village. They mention that Kokan has large water reserves, and the medicine in the place is very advanced. Soon after, they walk along a river and notice that there are ecclesiastical guards in the area. The guards stop a farmer who wanted to go to Kokan to get medicine, telling him that there are floods in the village. Because of this, the group decides to look for another route. After going through the mountains, they manage to reach Kokan. It is a beautiful place, and there are no floods as the knights had claimed. At that moment, they speak with a villager and ask why they said the place was deserted. The villager becomes disappointed by the lies and explains that about 2 years ago, the ecclesiastical knights arrived and announced that the church would take control of the village and its entrances. At that moment, a man named Adele appears, who is the former priest of the church. He confesses that he no longer serves the church because he was sent to Petale but could not bear seeing people die, so he abandoned everything and went into hiding. He then tells them that he will explain everything about the church and what they are planning in Kokan, asking them to follow him to another place. On the way, the Floud asks if he knew the priest from the church of Patal. Adel replies that he was a great man who motivated many people to move forward. After walking for a while, Adel shows them the church of Kokan, which is heavily guarded by ecclesiastical knights. He says that they might be guarding people who still have the petrification disease. This shocks the group, as they believed that the disease had already been eradicated. However, Adel explains that Petale was not the only place affected. He reveals that he once saw them carrying out a bandaged person, just like in Petale. He believes that they might be experimenting on the sick people there, and asks for their help to free the patients. The group agrees, but Alfred is not entirely comfortable with this. He says that they should first report everything to George. Marius argues that the longer they wait, the more people could die, but Alfred reminds her that the church holds a lot of power. In the end, Marius takes Alfred by the hand, and they head toward the place. The group enters through underground pipes, and at one point, Marius slips. Alfred takes the chance to tell her that he truly fears the church, because if they discover that he is against them, they could strip him of his domain and take control of it, and the people living there would be punished. Marius understands and agrees that they need to do something. Soon after, they reach an area where the knights collect water for daily use. However, monsters suddenly appear. After defeating them, Adele mentions that monsters had never appeared there before, making it very unusual. As they continue deeper, they find many people suffering from the petrification disease. The group is shocked, and Marius says that a basement like this is not a place for sick people. The Floud says that he cannot see anyone from the village of Petole. At that moment, someone starts heading toward them, so they try to leave. Just as the Floud is about to get out, a strong man breaks the door and hits him. Alongside him appears a doctor named Grieve who works at the hospital. Grieve orders the man to attack the Floud, and he fights back with his spear. However, the man seems to feel no pain, so the Floud asks Grieve what he has done to the people. The doctor replies that experimenting on people who cannot feel pain is much better. In simple terms, he has created medicine that removes all sense of pain and uses them as test subjects. Grieve also admits that he did all of this under the orders of Alexei. The Floud creates a distraction and tells the others to leave immediately, because if they are discovered, Alfred's domain could be put in danger. However, at that moment, the man strikes the Floud again, and Marius steps in to help him as they refuse to abandon a teammate. The group is hit, and Alfred, stepping forward, tells Q to leave with Adele so they can inform George, while he stays behind to defeat the enemies. Alfred joins the fight, and after a combined attack with the others, they manage to defeat the man. This shocks Grieve, who never expected that simple insects like them could kill his experiment. In the end, Alfred threatens the doctor, saying that he must reveal all the crimes the church has committed there, or he will kill him. Suddenly, Didier appears. Alfred is confused, as he did not expect him to be part of this. He asks what he is doing there, and Didier replies that he has come to help the sick people. He claims that their illness is a result of their sins. The Floud and Marius do not believe his words, as his actions clearly show that he does not care about the sick at all. Didier then admits that the idea was also supported by the Pope. As Didier holds Alfred's sword, he tells him that he should have stayed quietly in his domain, because now he will not be able to live peacefully after this. He then strikes Alfred, sending him crashing into a wall. His companions try to protect him, but Didier is so strong that he knocks them down as well. At that moment, Marius's hair comes loose, and Didier realizes that she is the princess, the one they have been searching for, and calls her a witch. He believes that she is responsible for creating the petrification disease. As he takes her away, he orders the knights to arrest Alfred and the Floud. After a few hours, Alfred and the Floud are shown imprisoned. At that moment, Alfred is surprised to see a man named Lucan arrive, who is revealed to be the commander of Squad 5 of the Royal Knights, or at least that was when he belonged to the Royal Knights, since now he has been promoted to be in charge of the prison tower. Lucan tells Alfred that the witch will be executed very soon, clearly referring to Marie. From now on, since everything has been revealed, she will be called by her real name. Furious, Alfred calls him a loyal dog of the Orthodox Church, saying that the royal knights should never have given in and become part of it. A memory is then shown of the princess when she first arrived where Alfred was. She saw how he made the people of Albert happy, and now she feels that she has only brought misfortune to him. Her mind begins to torment her as she thinks about how she abandoned her brother, who is still in the castle, and she has not gone to see him even once. In the end, she asks for help, fearing that the wolf might return at any moment and kill him, just like it killed their father and Fernando. At that moment, she wakes up after being splashed with water. The guards were about to torture her, but Didier suddenly arrives and tells them that he will take charge of her from now on. After the knights leave, he kneels before her and calls her Princess Marielle. Meanwhile, Alfred and the Floud are being transferred when they manage to knock down the guards and escape. Back with Marie, Didier releases her and apologizes for how she was treated. He explains that everything was done under the Pope's orders, and since she rebelled against the church, they want her dead. Didier adds that he will eventually kill her, but before that, he wants to tell her the truth. He places his hand in front of her and, using magic, shows her memories from the past. She sees her mother, who had died, and how deeply it affected her. Days later, the king and the Pope began a summoning ritual to try to bring her back to life, and Marie had secretly witnessed it. Didier had told her to leave, but she did not understand how they could try to revive someone, since the dead cannot return. Didier explained that in this world there exists an immense power beyond imagination. Back in the present, Didier reveals that Marie does not remember any of this because he himself sealed her memories that day. He also says that from the moment her father carried out that act, the kingdom began to fall, as disasters started happening, including his death and the summoning of monsters. Marie begins to cry, unable to believe that her father is the cause of all the kingdom's misfortune. On the other side, Alfred and the Floud are cornered by knights when suddenly Maurice appears disguised as a guard and attacks them. They begin to run, but they encounter Lucan, and a fight begins. Lucan tells Maurice that now the Pope has taken control and the princess has disappeared, and that they cannot keep living based on emotions. However, Maurice responds that the person they are truly fighting for is the one they swore loyalty to, referring to Princess Marie. Hearing this, Alfred finally understands that Marius was the princess all along. Maurice then tells Alfred to take the carriage waiting for him and leave immediately. In another scene, Didier meets with Alexei and reports everything about the knights. Alexei orders him to eliminate anyone who opposes the church. Didier accepts and uses a portal to leave. Despite having divine magic, Alexei believes that Didier's power is extremely great. Back with Marie, the knights of the church take her away to be hanged. Marie, while walking, begins to feel miserable because of Didier's words. She believes that many people have died because of her, and thinks that she is responsible for all the misfortunes in the kingdom, so she starts to think that maybe her death would be for the best. Just as she is about to be hanged, Alfred arrives at full speed, defeating every knight guarding the place. When he sees her hanging, he throws a sword at one of the knights and cuts the rope that was about to suffocate her. With tears in her eyes, Marie asks him what he is doing there, and Alfred tells her that friends never abandon each other. Alfred and the Floud then begin fighting and defeating many of the knights. But as expected, Didier appears, and Alfred immediately charges at him. After exchanging several blows, Alfred is struck, and Marie does not want anyone else to get hurt because of her. Alfred is soon surrounded, and Didier tells him that he thought he was smarter since he would not have wasted time coming there just to die for someone like her. Furious, Alfred says that he will do everything he can to save his companion. He charges again, but Didier knocks him down with a single move. Just as Didier is about to kill him, Bertrand arrives with many knights, along with Adelheged and the group from the island where the other girl Mari was. In short, all of Alfred's allies have come to defeat Didier and his forces. A battle begins between both sides, and even Lucan joins Alfred's side as he had been deceived by the church regarding Marie's death. He asks Alfred to save her while he takes care of Didier. Didier mocks him, saying he is no match, but Adelheged appears and declares that as a Templar knight, she will use her spear to defeat evil. Several knights try to stop Alfred from reaching Marie. Alfred fights one of the guards, and although he is hit, he manages to stab the enemy in the chest just before being killed. Seeing this, Didier realizes the situation is turned against him, so he escapes using teleportation. Meanwhile, Marie begins to cry and apologizes to Alfred for deceiving them all this time. She says that she knows all the misfortunes in the kingdom are her fault, and that he should not have come to save her because she feels she is not worth it. Alfred comforts her and tells her that it does not matter who she really is, because they have always been friends. He asks her to return to his domain. After a few days, Alfred returns to his domain and stands at his family's grave. At that moment, Marie arrives and finally tells him the truth about who she is, confessing that she is the princess who disappeared from the kingdom of Hortensia. She apologizes for dragging his domain into all of this. As she is about to leave, Alfred takes her hands and tells her that his father always taught him to protect what he loves. He swears his loyalty to her at that moment and promises to protect her with his life, leaving Marie deeply surprised by his words. In another scene, Lugus is informed that the royal knights and the ecclesiastical knights have clashed. He concludes that Princess Marie must have appeared because there is no way Adelheid would have mobilized all her forces for just a simple witch. He then states that the kingdom of Hortensia is now at a critical point, and a war is likely to happen. Meanwhile, Adele spreads the word and tells them to announce that anyone who wants to support the princess must join the battalion, since Olivier has now become the main base that will protect her. However, Adelheid mentions that in order to win the upcoming war, they will need to visit a girl, although her identity is not revealed at that moment. In a parallel scene, the Floud arrives with Nanoria, and she is very worried. She says that the group keeps going out and always gets into trouble and danger. Now they are preparing to leave again, and she is afraid something might happen to them. They are also surprised because they have now discovered that Marius is actually the princess. Back with Alfred, he tells Marie that she must stay in Albert until Adelheid returns for her. She is not happy about this, as she feels uncomfortable with him calling her princess. In a slightly annoyed but cute way, she asks him to keep calling her Marius. However, Alfred refuses, saying that he does not want to disrespect royalty. They are interrupted when the Floud enters with Maurice. Maurice says that he brought him so he could be punished for how he treated her before. In a joking tone, Marie says that she will punish him by ordering him to serve as a knight and join Alfred, while also remaining their friend. The Floud accepts, and they continue talking. At that moment, Nonoria appears looking very sad and says that she wants to go with them wherever they go, because she has always stayed behind at home waiting for them to return. Alfred tells her that the next battle will be on another level, and he cannot guarantee their safety. Soon after, they move to another place where Nonoria demonstrates her skills by shooting an arrow at a target. Everyone is amazed by her accuracy. She explains that she has been training with Maurice all this time and says that she can now stand beside them without any problem. Maurice agrees that she might be able to, and Alfred finally accepts her into the group. Marie also reassures her, telling her that she can continue being herself. After some time, a knight informs them that Adelheid has sent a letter. A few hours later, the group meets her, and they are seen walking through a forest. They arrive at a house, and Adelheid tells them that before going to war, they need to meet someone. Inside, they see a young girl. Adelheid apologizes in advance for what she is about to do, and as she approaches Marie, she uses an ability that makes her lose consciousness instantly. Alfred becomes alert, but Adelheid explains that she does not intend to harm the princess. The girl is introduced as Lacroix, a real witch. They place Marie on a bed while Lacroix casts a spell on her. Maurice says that he thought the existence of witches was just a myth created by the church. But Lacroix explains that witches are actually guardians of Magonia and possess knowledge about the legends of Magonia's betrayal that people have spoken about for decades. While the group continues talking, Marie is seen dreaming and remembering her childhood. At that moment, the leaders of different domains are shown telling the young girl that one day their children might be the ones to protect her. All of this happens without knowing that those words would come true a few years later. The girl continues to remember moments from her childhood, and Lacroix, through her spell, is also able to see all of her dreams. She realizes that the relic held by Alexei is extremely powerful, saying that it partly controls Magonia, and she does not know when it first came into this world. Lacroix explains that if someone manages to control the power of the relic, they could fulfill almost any wish they desire. She tells them that this is exactly why Alexei has been hunting witches, because he knows that the relic contains immense power and knowledge of Magonia. That is also why he can summon many monsters, just like what happened during the tragedy when the king died. Meanwhile, in her dream, Marie sees the relic and thinks that if she could control it, she could wish for the disaster to have never happened. However, Alfred appears in her dream and becomes her guide. He tells her that she already has the ability to make people happy, so she does not need any of the powers of Magonia to be a good leader. At that moment, Marie regains hope in herself, supported by the people she cares about. She takes her sword, and in her mind she destroys the relic, realizing that she does not need that power to have a better future. She then wakes up, and Alfred becomes nervous when he realizes that she noticed he was holding her hand. On the other hand, Lacroix apologizes for putting her to sleep with the spell. Marie tells her that she does not mind and asks where the real relic is. Lacroix replies that the Pope has it and that they must take it from him somehow, because someone with that power is extremely dangerous. Lacroix also tells her that everything was a test, and she believes that when Marie obtains the relic, she will not be consumed by its power and will use it to achieve great things. In the end, Marie gives words of encouragement and asks everyone for their help to take the relic from the Pope. Everyone agrees, and they begin preparing for war. In a parallel scene, Teresia has a vision about Alfred's group. She sees someone being seriously injured and asks Lugus to let her go to the capital, but she collapses from exhaustion due to overusing her magic. Lugus tells her to rest, as he will go to the capital himself to handle the situation. After several days, the new army formed by different domains is finally ready to reclaim the church. After Marie gives a speech, the army begins marching toward the capital of Hortensia. After days of travel, the knights are surprised when they see the Knights of Camellia in the distance. Suddenly they are attacked, and the twins appear before them, declaring that they will destroy them all. In another scene, Didier informs the Pope about the combined army heading toward the capital. Alexei scolds Didier for not killing the princess when he had the chance. They are interrupted when a royal knight arrives and tells them that his unit is ready to fight the princess's army. He also asks Alexei to reconsider taking his grandfather's position. When Alexei mentions that Alfred is among the army, the royal knight leaves, thinking that it is finally time to settle things with Fernando's son. Back with Alfred, the twins confidently declare that they will defeat them immediately. Suddenly, the group dodges several arrows, and Roy appears with his forces. He tells them that they have gone too far with their actions and even congratulates Alfred for now leading the princess's army. In the end, he apologizes for the misunderstanding and says that the Duchy of Camellia has no intention of taking hostile action against them. Alfred chooses to trust him, but suddenly the army is attacked by ecclesiastical knights. Several of them try to approach and eliminate the group, but unexpectedly, they pull out rifles, something completely unusual for the era they are in. Alfred notices that they take a few seconds to reload, so he takes advantage of that and manages to defeat all of them. At the same time, they wonder what kind of technology those weapons are. In another scene, Lugus scolds the twins for causing trouble. Roy suggests that they should be punished, but Lugus points out that they are allies of the Duchy of Dury. Back with the group, they talk about what happened with the Camelian forces. Alfred says that Roy seemed serious about not attacking them, so he begins to think that the enemy of his enemy might become his ally, since Camellia also seems to want to fight the church. They then discuss the rifles, and Bertrand explains that they are very powerful weapons, capable of piercing iron armor. The group becomes nervous, but he adds that they require good aim and take time to reload. In a parallel scene, a man reports to a royal knight that the troops sent for an ambush have been defeated. The knight, named Flegel, says that he already expected them to die, as he used them as test subjects. He is pleased to hear that Alfred is leading the army, since he plans to kill him and take all the glory. The next day, the princess's army is surprised to find that the second squad of Belthauser is waiting for them. Maurice cannot believe that such an elite army has sided with the church. A knight then reports that the commander has been identified. It is Flegel himself. Bertrand is shocked to learn that he is the grandson of Belfair. Everyone begins to wonder, realizing that this decision was likely not made by Belthauser himself, and they question whether something might have happened to him. At that moment, Flegel's forces are confident in their victory, since they have many armed knights, and Alfred's army must cross a bridge. Meanwhile, Adelheged begins planning a strategy to cross without suffering heavy losses. After a long discussion, Alfred comes up with a plan, and the Floud becomes motivated when Adelheid says she expects him to help in the battle. Soon after, several of Alfred's allies begin moving carts equipped with bullet-resistant shields. At the same time, a small group crosses the river with Alfred to flank the enemy from another direction. In the distance, Lugus is seen wondering what they should do, knowing that the situation could turn out badly for the princess's army. Meanwhile, Flegel acts like a madman, imagining himself defeating Alfred. Suddenly, a knight reports that the riflemen are being taken out due to Alfred's surprise attack. This angers Flegel, who grabs a rifle and prepares to shoot Alfred. However, an arrow strikes his weapon, and he realizes that the army of Camellia has arrived to support Alfred and his allies. Alfred understands that they must take advantage of the opportunity given by Roy and his army, so they begin their attack while crossing the bridge. Flegel starts to panic as his sub-commanders report heavy losses. Despite this, he stubbornly declares that he will not let Alfred take away the power he has gained. He even confesses that he was the one who removed his own grandfather from power, all to get revenge on Alfred, whom he hates for reasons not fully revealed. This disgusts his sub-commanders, who can no longer tolerate him and abandon him. After some time, Alfred's group realizes that they have nearly taken control of the battle thanks to Camelia's support. However, Flegel suddenly attacks Alfred, who blocks the strike. Alfred tells Adelheid to take the princess away. Flegel declares that he intends to kill him, as he no longer cares about the outcome of the battle and only wants Alfred dead. He reveals that his hatred comes from being constantly compared to Alfred throughout his life. While Alfred is loved by everyone, Flegel is hated even by his own people. After exchanging several blows, Alfred proves to be far superior and disarms him. Even so, he chooses to spare his life, putting away his sword and turning back toward his group. But Flegel, unable to accept defeat, tries to pull out a gun. Before he can fire, Alfred blocks the attack and destroys the weapon. Flegel breaks down in tears, consumed by envy, believing that Alfred has everything as he thinks. She explains that Alfred went through great hardship after losing his family, but he did not give up and managed to move forward. She then asks Flegel if he would be willing to do the same. After that, Alfred's group leaves, while Flegel remains on the ground for a while. At that moment, one of the ecclesiastical knights arrives, and Flegel tries to tell him to regroup the remaining forces so they can attack again from behind. However, unexpectedly, the knight pulls out a weapon and shoots him. In the next scene, Alexei says that he already expected Flegel to lose the battle, since he had used him simply to buy time before the enemy reached the royal capital. Didier replies that it was to be expected, and Alexei says he does not care what happens, as he looks at the relic with a malicious smile and mentions that they are very close to carrying out his plan. After a few days, Alfred's group finally reaches the royal capital and begins to infiltrate it. Adelheid says that she is glad they are close to reclaiming the throne and saving her brother. She also believes that they must defeat Alexei and secure the relic so it does not fall into the wrong hands again. Meanwhile, George realizes that Alfred has returned to the capital and thinks that now he can finally die in peace. Back with Alfred, they continue fighting when a man named Belthauser suddenly appears. The princess and the knights are happy to see that he is still alive, as they had believed that his grandson had killed him. He laughs and says that even if they attacked him by surprise, they would never defeat him so easily. At that moment, Belthauser kneels before Marie and apologizes for not stopping Alexei in time, as well as for all the chaos caused by Flegel. Marie tells him that everything is fine and says that she must now put an end to all the wrongs her father caused, asking him to fight alongside her. On the other hand, Alfred realizes that both the royal and ecclesiastical knights are being led by a skilled strategist, and he is shocked to discover that it is George himself. Maurice says that no one knows him better than he does, and that he will handle him personally. In another scene, Alexei tells Didier that their forces seem weak and orders him to go fight. Didier uses his teleportation ability and leaves. Meanwhile, the princess's army continues advancing deeper into the city, increasing their pressure. Marie asks Adelheid to take her along, as she has a bad feeling. Elsewhere, Maurice confronts George and asks why he is so loyal to Alexei, but George arrogantly responds that he will have to force the answer out of him. Back with Alfred, the group arrives on horseback, but Didier suddenly appears and attacks him. Alfred manages to block the strike, but Didier continues attacking relentlessly. Alfred is hit, and Adelheid arrives to support him, declaring that this will be the day they defeat him. Suddenly, Marie asks Didier to lower his weapon, but he refuses, saying that he follows the ideals of the Orthodox Church. In a parallel scene, Alexei reveals that he has been casting a spell on all the people, filling them with hatred so that when they fight, they will become a source of power for him. With a sinister smile, he stands before several crystals that absorb magic. and says that very soon, the power of the relic will be his. Back with Alfred, the group is badly beaten, but he refuses to give up and charges at Didier again. After exchanging several blows, Didier is about to land a strike, but Marie suddenly appears and blocks the attack. Didier quickly regains control, and just as he is about to stab her, Alfred steps in front of her. Seeing that Alfred is about to be struck, Marie suddenly releases divine power, creating a distraction that allows Alfred to stab Didier in the chest. Wounded, Didier admits that the legend about the princess being a bearer is true, and then escapes using a portal. Adelheid believes that he was so badly injured that he likely will not survive. Alfred asks Marie what she just did, but she does not understand it herself. Meanwhile, Maurice and his group defeat George's squad, and George has no choice but to explain why he was loyal to the Pope. He reveals that they were once companions when they were clerics and shared the same ideals, but Alexei suddenly changed and began killing anyone who disagreed with him. George admits that he followed his orders out of fear, knowing that Alexei could torture him. On the other hand, Alexei fully charges his power and absorbs the relic's energy, gaining complete divinity. A memory is then revealed from when Alexei was a child. Before dying, his mother confessed that she had been with the king and that he was actually a prince. From that moment on, he developed hatred toward royalty. Back in the present, Alexei moves toward Charlotte, believing that he will bring true peace to the kingdom, as he now effectively controls it through Marie's brother. Meanwhile, Alfred's group realizes that the war will not end until they capture the castle and defeat the Pope. Maurice suggests that they could infiltrate through the kingdom's underground pipes. They also tell Alfred that no matter what happens, he must protect the princess with his life, and he accepts without hesitation. After some time, Alfred goes to Nonoria, who is tending to a wounded person. Seeing that she is injured, he begins to bandage her while informing her that they are about to infiltrate the castle. Because the mission is very dangerous, he asks her to stay behind, as he does not want her to get hurt. She agrees and asks him to return safely. In a parallel scene, Lugus is with the twins, who are defeating several knights. It appears that they also plan to infiltrate the castle, so Lugus tells them to head to the underground temple while he goes to the castle himself. Back with Alfred's group, they move through the underground pipes of the kingdom. As the Floud crosses the water, he suddenly feels something touch him, and right in front of them, many monsters begin to appear. The group asks the Floud to leave while he stays behind to eliminate all the monsters. In a sarcastic tone, he asks Adelheid if she would cry for him if he dies, and she replies that she will give him that answer later. Everyone leaves, and the Floud thinks that his time to shine has finally come. After a while, the group successfully infiltrates the castle. Alfred feels that something is strange, since he cannot see a single guard. They conclude that the guards must have been sent to fight, so they decide to head to the throne room before being discovered. However, Adelheid senses someone's presence and asks the others to continue while she goes to investigate. Although Princess Marie is worried about her, Maurice assures her that she will be fine and that they must keep moving. Meanwhile, Adelheid feels as if someone is calling her and rushes toward that direction. Just as she demands that whoever is there reveal themselves, she is suddenly attacked and barely manages to block the strike. At the same time, as Alfred and the others run through the halls, he suddenly senses a presence. Right in front of him, his father appears, leaving him completely shocked. At the same time, Adelheid also sees her father Leon, alive, and cannot believe what she is seeing, since both of them had been dead. Adelheid is confused as she herself buried her father. Then, a memory from 4 years ago is revealed. The king tried to use the relic to revive his wife, but Alexei told him that reviving someone required greater power, and that he would need someone like Lugus. At that time, they were allies, and Alexei manipulated the king, asking him to use Lugus as a pawn. That same night, Lugus arrived and asked the king for help in defeating the kingdom of Duri. However, the king reminded him that he had failed to bring him the emperor's head. At that moment, the king remembered Alexei's words that to awaken the true power of Magonia within Lugus, he needed to make him angry. The king began insulting Lugus, calling him useless. Leon defended Lugus, saying that he was the most loyal person he had. This only made the king angrier, accusing both of them of plotting against him. He immediately called the guards and declared that he would burn Camelia and Olivier. This pushed Lugus to awaken his Magonia power, and Alexei was pleased as his goal of activating the relic had been achieved. At that moment, the wolf transformation occurred, and it began killing everyone. Back in the present, snow begins to fall. Nonoria tells Q that something like this happened on the day Fernando and the king died, based on what Maurice had told her, so she believes they must investigate immediately. Meanwhile, back with Alfred, Fernando begins attacking him, and Maurice is injured by a strike. At the same time, Leon and Fernando tell their children to help free them, because Alexei is controlling their bodies and will not stop until they are destroyed. Alfred manages to block his father's attack and tells him that his soul is being controlled by Alexei, and that he will help set him free. Adelheid tells her father that she will also help free him from the curse. After a brief memory from her childhood, she manages to defeat him in battle, and in that moment, she puts an end to her father's spirit. At the same time, Alfred defeats Fernando, and both fathers express pride in how strong their children have become. Alfred and Adelheid can no longer hold back and begin to cry after seeing their parents for the last time and defeating them. In the end, Fernando tells Alfred to continue protecting the princess, and says that he will be praying from beyond for his success. As their fathers fade away, the group returns to Maurice, who is injured. He tells them to go ahead without him, as he needs time alone to reflect on everything that just happened. The group agrees and continues toward the throne room. In another scene, Nonoria is running through the underground pipes when she encounters the Floud. He asks what she is doing there, and she replies that she was worried about Alfred and came to see how he was. The Floud tells her that if that is the case, they need to move quickly. Back with Alfred, Marie tells him that the Pope is behind the door ahead. Before entering, she thanks him for accompanying her this far. Alfred reminds her that he promised to protect her until the very end, and after saying this, they move forward. When they pass through the doors, they encounter her brother, who is confused. At that moment, Alexei is sitting on the king's throne and tells them that he sent them gifts so they could see their parents. Alfred responds that because of Alexei and the power of Magonia, he now fully understands his father's wishes, and he has come to defeat him. Alexei says that his goal is to maintain peace in the kingdom, but Marie angrily replies that if that were true, he would not have summoned the dead. Alexei answers that it is necessary to unify the nations, and he begins summoning many demons. Marie tells her brother to hide while they fight. Alexei then declares that he intends to rule the nation as he is tired of the royal family. He reveals that he and Marie are half-siblings and says that he will eliminate both her and Charlotte to end everything. This shocks Marie, and Alexei begins summoning demonic eyes from his hands. These grow larger and transform into 3 demonic maidens with power equal to a demon king. Alfred clashes with them and realizes that they have regenerative abilities. However, Marie activates her divine power and destroys one of them with a single strike. She also protects Alfred from another attack using the same divine ability she had used before. At the same time, Marie transfers part of her power into Alfred's sword, allowing him to defeat another of the maidens with one strike. The last demon begins casting a spell beneath them, attempting to absorb them. Just when it seems everything is over, a sword suddenly pierces the creature's body, as Lugus appears at that moment. The demon tells them that he is also a bearer of Magonia abilities, just like Marie, and even thanks him because when he transformed into a wolf, he helped activate the relic. At that moment, Alfred realizes that Lugus did not actually start a rebellion as it was made to seem. However, Lugus tells him that they will talk about that later, since the demon in front of them is actually Alexei, because when he summoned the other two, they merged into one. The group dodges Alexei's attack, and after a combined assault, they manage to defeat him. Lugus tells Alfred that he is a great swordsman, just like his father. They then change the topic to the relic, and Marie reveals that it has the power to create conflicts between nations. Because of this, she believes it must be destroyed and asks for help to restore peace in the kingdom. Unexpectedly, Alexei is still alive and mocks their speech. The crystal on his forehead rises into the sky, instantly changing the atmosphere. Lugus threatens him and asks where the relic is, and Alexei replies that Didier took it, since it belonged to him from the beginning. Suddenly, the sky turns strange, and an aura emerges from Lugus, causing him to transform once again into the wolf from before. Lugus then tries to attack the princess, but Alfred blocks the strike. Alfred counters and manages to slash Lugus across the chest. However, Lugus retaliates and wounds Alfred with his claws. After that, Lugus escapes from the castle, and Marie is left crying as she sees that Alfred is gravely injured. Alfred tells her that, as he promised, he stayed until the very end to protect her. But Marie, in tears, says that she does not want him to die and that she wants her friend to stay with her for a long time. In the end, Alfred tells her that they should return to Albert, but he suddenly collapses. After a few days, the princess gives a speech to the people of the kingdom, saying that they will slowly rebuild everything that the Pope destroyed. It is then revealed that Alfred survived, as he is standing behind her. In another scene, Lacroix speaks with Adelheid and says that the princess committed a great sin. It is explained that Marie unleashed a divine power that she should never have obtained. Because of her bond with Alfred and her desperation, her power awakened and revived him, but part of his soul was corrupted in the process.